All right, we're back. We're doing this motor. We're going to do the motor build. I got the bearings pressed into the other case halves. Jim is a savior. He came up and brought me the other cases that he had, so they're not all flattened out and rounded out. So that's a super awesome positive right there for one. You can see the other cases down here on the ground near my press. Bearings have already been pressed out and pressed into the other case halves. So I'm still going to put a little bit of sealant all the way around this thing on both sides. All right, because I don't want to have this thing possibly leak. I don't want to take any chances. I usually don't, but with all the issues we had with this motor, I want to put that on there. I'm not going to show you guys me putting a sealant on here because that just takes forever. As soon as I get that on, I will go ahead and start to record again. Here's another tip for you guys too. So when it comes to doing these case halves and knowing which rod needs to be at the lower end, the top end, if you look at the tops here, you can see this part, this half of the cylinder is actually lower and this one's raised. So you know when you go to put the crank in, PTO side is going to be facing up on this one because the PTO is going to come out here. So the long crankshaft half where the flywheel PTO side will be facing up, so the crank side where the flywheel will bolt to will be facing down. So you know when you put that under the rod on the bottom, because there's two rods, the rod on the bottom is going to face this side, which this is number one because of the way the crankcase is sitting where the transmission bolts, okay? When it goes into the unit, the motor flips the other direction, and this will be number two. So the rod that's lower when you go to put the crank in is the one that lines up with this. You'll be able to tell this part is lower than this side over here. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting the sealant back on this, and then I will drop the crank in, guys, and then we'll go ahead and retorque this all down. Again, I do have a video already from a different one about a year or so ago on a full build, but everybody asked me to do a build on this, so we're going to do a build on this motor also. All right, so we got the gasket on. We have the crankcase ready to rock and roll. Both sides are done. Let's go ahead and grab the crank. Again, the PTO side, it will be facing up, and we'll go ahead and take all this stuff off the pistons for right now. So again, we'll spin that around like so. And this will be exactly how this sets. PTO side, again, is the long shaft. That will be facing up. We'll drop this in here nice and easy. Try to avoid any contact with the bearings if possible. And there we go. That is down in there. Again, we're trying to be careful with the pistons and everything because we don't want those to smash around. Try to line this back up again since I did hit that with all the holes. Everything looks good here, there, here. Just want to make sure everything is absolutely perfect. This one does have a dowel pin, but it's over in this crankcase half. All right, so that's pretty much, now we got to go ahead and stick in the water pump gear here. So that'll slide down in here just like this and set in place. I thought this one might have had a washer, I can't remember. But we'll set that down in there. I might have to go double check because I thought maybe this one had the washer on it. I know the oil pump has one. This one may have one all the way down here in the bottom like so it doesn't catch that ring. Let me double check my thing real quick. I forget if that one has a washer on it. All right, so there is no washer on the bottom of that. There is one that goes here once the crankcase halves together, and then you have the other one that goes for the oil pump. So let's grab this crankcase half. This one a little uglier on the outside, but no big deal. Just make sure we put that in there because I think in the last video I forgot I had to actually take it back apart and put it back in. I'm gonna go ahead and slide down. Try not to hit those bearings. Get it lined up with the water pump gear. And kind of just work our way down a little bit. Like I said, I don't want to impact the pistons or anything. Give it a good little push. And everything looks like it is seated. So that's a good thing. So let's grab the bolts here. And I'll give you guys the torques on these again. I'd have to look those up. I don't remember off the top of my head. So this is why I use this cardboard right here. Just makes everything that much easier when I start putting everything back together. See, that one's kind of short. I might have to maybe find a different one for that. That one should be longer. See, like that. That's still a little short. That's still a little short. Let's see if I have one longer than that, because it should be longer than that. It shouldn't be dropping that far down in there. It should have a little bit of, should have about that much of the sticking out, and it doesn't. See kind of how short that one is. This one, because this one's longer. This one probably, yep, that one goes in there. Let's double check that. That is too short. Too short. Trying to see if one of these happened to be put in the wrong spot, even though I already took everything out and put it together before. See, too short. So that one still feels way too short. That's good there. That one there. Good. Good. And this one should be on the inside right here. So all those are good. This one still a little short. I know Jim brought me a bunch of bolts, so I want to see if we got one of those, but let's go ahead and start getting these torqued down. These will be all torqued down to 10 to 12 Newton meters here, but the first ones you want to do are these ones that are 6 mil. Very weird torque specs. And knock my coffee over. And I'm just going to go ahead and put these in with a T-handle, since I don't have my impact. And this way we just kind of, I mean, this is an older Motion Pro T-handle I've had for a very long time. And I'll look these torque specs up here in a second. I just want to get everything kind of ran down, just semi-snug. I'm not trying to torque anything down. I just want to make sure that the gasket halves, or the crankcase halves, are seated, and that the gasket is getting a chance to, or the gasket sealer is getting a chance to get in there and bond correctly. Now, where'd that 8 go? Let's see. Oh, there, no, that's a 10. There's the 8. And I like to start kind of, we'll start on the inside here, run these down till they touch. And again, I just give them a nice little, just a little bit right now, and then we'll go back, go through and torque them all down. See if he's got a longer one of those too. When I stop the recording here and find out the torque specs on that, I'll throw the manual up on my TV so I can just take a glance up every now and then. And again, these aren't very tight. They're like 12 or 14 Newton meters, which is really weird how not tight they have those. So let me pause for a second here. Let me jump back in, check out my service manual, and get those. All right, I don't know if you can see this or not. I forgot I don't have the adapter in my shop for the TV. So right here, you can see the 6x10s are like 8 Newton meters on this particular one on the edge, and then you have 10. But then the 1, 2, 3, and 4 right there, they're showing like 12 to 14 Newton meters. Yeah, so we're not sure about that one. It's really interesting how they have that in there. I remember this from the last build, and I can't remember. Let's see what they say. It doesn't really tell you what is. It just basically says what parts are Doesn't really talk about too much torque specs on that I can remember. But yeah, so we're probably going to go to 14 Newton meters on all of them. It shouldn't affect anything here, 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 and here. Honestly, I still think that's not enough, being that it is a 8mm bolt. I don't think that's anywhere near enough, but that's what they say, and that's what we'll do. So again, showing, I'm gonna go 14 Newton meters on all those, and an extension probably will help a little bit on this one. If I can, I don't have the grip strength anymore. Oh my gosh. I don't know why it's so tight on this thing, but it likes to be. I mean, it's a good thing it doesn't just fall off, but I had a 3-inch extension somewhere. Well, there's a 6, that'll work for now. I don't really, 3 doesn't really matter, 3 or 6. These don't twist like a 1/4-inch one can possibly twist. All right, so 14, 14, whoop, and 14. I did not want that to happen like that. I don't want to hit those pistons. Just trying to get this thing to balance up there properly can be a little bit of a pain in the butt. I also want to clean off all the excess on the outside of the motor. I don't like that stuff poking out everywhere. I think it just kind of gives the look of your job. You know, makes it look sloppy. And I do all the same stuff when I used to build race motors, like I said in the past. Clean all this stuff up. Trim up any gasket surfaces that are sticking out, like this little guy right there. Double check that one. That one feels good. That's good there. And that's good up there. But I will grab my blade, which I did have one over here. Grab one of these out of here, and we'll just trim this back a little bit down here. Nice and flat. That feels good. Double check this one. That feels good. And then this one here. There. I'm gonna double check this one again. Yeah, I thought I had just a little bit left. All right, all that feels really good. Now all these, they say 8, I'm going to 10. By all means, I'm telling you right now, 8 is not anywhere enough. Now if I can figure out what I did with my 8, oh yeah, it's on the, here. So I'm going to 10 Newton meters on all of those. I got oil over everything. 10, start in the middle here. I forgot to look for that bolt when I was getting the service manual. He said it's more bodywork bolts than anything else. That should be all of those. We need to get one longer for here because this one will just pull threads. If you see, it bottoms out. So that one definitely isn't long enough. Let's see if we got anything inside of here. And I'm pretty sure he said these are all bodywork bolts. Yeah, I don't see any long 8s for that. And I don't believe I have anything super long in my pile of leftovers. either. I think this one's the same length. I can look down here on possibly the transmission from his other motor. Let's see, drop this one in here. Nope, same thing, probably the same length as this. Yep, same length. Let me jump down here and see if I can find another bolt. All right, I do not have anything here that'll fit that. I have to run down the hardware store. We'll do that again after we get this thing together, because I did not do it last time when I stuck the motor in. Didn't go get it yet. So let's go ahead and put the reed valve in, or the baffle. The oil pump, those are 10 Newton meters. These are 8 Newton meters. And then we'll go ahead and put in the water pump gear, all that good stuff. So let's go back over here. Here's the oil pump. Grab that with the new gasket we had. You can see how they line up. We'll double check. Just like so. Let's grab our, I'll run it in with this guy here. There's 8. Actually, you know what? I don't want to use this. I know what I used last time. I used my impact driver stuff, because this one's a number 2 and that's actually number 3. So if you grab an impact driver, use this adapter and the number 3 bit, you definitely get a better bite. So if you don't have one to torque it like that, if you have an impact driver that has this stuff, this will make do with what you got. There's 8. 8. And 8. Might want to double check that torque, but I'm pretty sure that one's 8. Oil pump. Let's go up. Let's go this way and just check. Come on. Let's see. I was wrong. 12 Newton meters. Okay. The RMZ or whatever I was doing was 8 Newton meters. Too many torque specs to remember. I'm glad I'm double checking that. I know it seems like I just pulled this apart, which I did, or put it together, which kind of, but yes and no, but I also did some other stuff in between. 12, and then go ahead and drop this washer on, grab our water pump gear, and grab our oil pump gear. So we'll start with the water pump. There's the oil pump stuff and the water pump. If I can get it to pop out again. Lift this guy up, drop that guy down, put that on, and we're money there. Oil pump. Pin. The oil pump. Then this guy. Oh no, that's right, this guy, because this is a different size shaft. That guy. And this will snap on here. If I can get there we go, that's there. We can go ahead and put on the timing chain. And then the guide. Oh my goodness gracious, I'm about sick and tired of this thing. Set you on the edge then, how about that? It's a good way to break something. I don't need that to happen right now. I just didn't want to pull those circlips back out and possibly damage them, and I don't have any more. So that would suck. Oh my goodness, Kyle. Today is not my day. There's that. This one doesn't really matter which direction. There's a 5, and that'll be 10 Newton meters also. We'll also get that baffle put in, tighten those down. Man, is this battery just, no, battery's full. I went to 12. Not a big deal. Grab our little plastic guy here. Remember, the tall side goes up because you want that bottom side to be setting underneath the timing chain so it can't come out. Ah. All right, baffle. Grab some more of this. Is that the right one? Yes. Oh, some Loctite. And the number 8. These, oh my gosh. Magnet. Go away, way over there somewhere. It'd be better if I put all my tools where they belong. So when I do look for them, I know where to find them. There's that. Now we can go ahead and put in the water pump gear. Where did I do with all that stuff? Here it is, right in front of me. All right, this guy here. Let me get that off of here. All right, remember this is the one that runs the oil pump and everything. So we'll make sure that's in there like so. See, that sits on there, runs the oil pump off the crank, all that air oil separator, again like so. And we got a couple dowels. One goes here and here. This one, I'm gonna tap in a little bit. Good. Let's grab all of our nuts and bolts. Should just say bolts. Those 3 are caught. That's funny. All right, let me clean this up a little bit. Gonna put a little more sealant on the side of this thing. Again, that is just because Actually, no, this crankcase half is really nice, so I'm not gonna worry about it. My luck, it'll probably leak, but we're gonna go ahead and slide it down on there. Make sure everything is in on this side. Water pump, or idler gear, oil pump, that. All right. And then the other timing chain tensioner or slider tensioner, timing chain slider will go in when we go start putting the top end on. All right, guys, as I was putting that motor together, I realized I had the drive gear for the water pump and the oil pump in backwards. I flipped that around and I had to put a spacer in there, okay? Some of the newer ones come with a spacer built on. It's pretty tall, about 12, 13 millimeters. One of my subscribers in the previous video said, hey, you forgot the spacer. You know, not a big deal, motor, you know, everything's right. So basically it's just a little 12 to 13 millimeter spacer that goes in there. I realized that as I was setting that cover back on it. So we'll jump back into that. It doesn't show the spacer that I put in there, but it's a 12 to 13 millimeter spacer. You can use washers. And you can have a little bit of side play, not a big deal, or you can cut the other spacer off your old gear and put that in place. Again, I had it flipped around and I had to flip it over and put a spacer on top of that. So let's jump back into the rest of this video. And the all threaded ones I keep kind of in the same area, just because I feel like that's where they should have been. I know there's one. I think there might be one that's a little bit longer than the others. I know I heard that one drop. Where did it go? I heard it fall. There it is. Like, I know I heard it fall. Again, 10 to 12 newton meters on the outside. Well, here you go. 12 newton meters on the outside, not 10 to 12. Apparently they want 12. We'll go 12. Twelve. All right, I'm just gonna go around, heat them all up on the outside. There's that side. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put the other one on that has the other motor mount on the bottom, because the other one in there already, the chassis is kind of stripped out from that. So we're going to go ahead and take this guy off here, I think, maybe. Where is my electric ratchet? Here we go. Make my life easy here. There's that. Wonderful, wonderful. Nothing like dropping it underneath the lift, of all places. 8. And now my 10. I give up, man. I cannot keep things where they need to be so I can do this in a timely manner. Or what there we go, had it on, or what I had it on last anyways, I should say. There's that. Let's grab this other side case. This side case is perfectly good. There's nothing wrong with that at all. We're just not using it. I'm gonna go ahead and get this one bolted up. Again, I like this because it has the new lower motor mounts, and the other one did have nuts on top. Whoop. There we go there. Now we can go ahead and, well, I guess, you know what? I can put in the shaft, but let me go ahead and put this thing together. Well, no, let me go ahead and put that shaft in because we are gonna have to rotate this over anyways, because we gotta get everything to top dead center and put the top end back on. So let's go ahead and grab this bad boy right here. And this one, it'll go in this direction because this comes off, remember the motor, this will be the front when it's in the unit, and this comes off the front drive shaft. So we're gonna grab the gasket for that. We'll slide it on. And then you could just slide this through. There's that. We'll grab these 3 bad boys, put them in, and I'm going to probably say these are probably going to be 12 Newton meters also, just because the side case is 12. You don't want to put more than 12 on these 6x10s. It's definitely not a good thing. Turn that back on. $12. $12. $12. All right, the other side. Make sure it's dry. Slide this guy on here. Spin it around. Line it up and just give her a little push. Make sure the holes are lining up here. There we go. Might have to give her a little bit of a tap to get it to slide the rest of the way in. Come on, baby, slide on in. There we go. Just had to get those lined back up, grab the other 3. And again, good old whopping 12 Newton meters. That's a 10. This is what I'm looking for. Best thing to do anytime you're doing a motor, don't care if it's an 800 following this one or what, have the service manual. For sure, have the service manual. It'll help you out a ton. You can hit me up, or you can hit Craig up at Motorcycle Doctor. Find it online, whatever it may take. Because I think I found this one initially online, and I have a whole bunch of other knowledge and stuff from Craig from Motorcycle Doctor for the odes and for all the Heisman stuff, manuals and wiring diagrams and all types of stuff. Now, it did cost me some money, but I do have all that, and that is part of being a shop sometimes. So that there, PTO side is all together. Shaft is in. Everything feels good. That has a little bit of play. I'll have to look into tightening that up. It's a little in and out. It's got a little side to side, which is all right. It's a U-joint on that guy, on the shaft itself. All right. So now I could probably get rid of that piece of wood, maybe. And we'll throw it on this side. Nope, I'm gonna keep it down here just like this. So now we're on the direction we need. Water pump time. We'll grab that. We'll grab a water pump. And you can see the gear there, and that will slide back down. There is a bearing down here in the bottom. That is replaceable. You can order that. Just make sure that, you know, you want these teeth to line up with those teeth, so you don't want to mess anything up there when you're doing that. See how to kind of play with it a little bit to get it to line up, and then we'll just slowly but surely press it the rest of the way down in there. Snap in place. That feels good. It's tight. Line those guys up. And these bad boys. And again, we'll probably run those at 12 Newton meters, just like all the other ones they've been talking about in here. Twelve. All right, water pumps in. Now you'll have a ball bearing that sits down in there. And then you also have this little guy. So the way I have it is ball bearing, that piece, and this, and that is the correct way that goes back on. I do have a new oil filter. Got a couple of those here. So let's go ahead and we'll clean the cap up a little bit. Yeah, sometimes I have to go back and check myself, because man, I tell you what, I just do so many different things around here. I mean, if you guys walked outside with me right now, there's an RZR 800, there's a Arcticat 650, there's a Polaris 500, Maverick 1000, what else is out there? Oh, there's an older 14 Odes 800. We're gonna do a set of clutches on and check out what's going on with that. That'll be a good video for you guys. And there's also a Roosh, which is a CF Moto motor. So that should be another good one to do. Figure out what's going on with that. It's having a starting issue. All right, let's throw these on there real quick. That's in, pushed in. That is all centered up. And get these on, and we'll torque these to 12 Newton meters also, like we have been. I know I keep saying things like that a million different times. Over and over and over. Honestly, right now, I could, if I wanted to, which I'm actually not worried about this picture. I could fill this cavity up right here with coolant right now and see if it would happen to leak out into the oil filter again like the other one did. But both those case halves are actually nice and flat, so I'm not too worried about that right now. All right, so now we need to go ahead and put in the other timing chain. And the guide, this would be cylinder number 1 mechanically, cylinder number 2 electrically. Oddities, oddities. There's this guy. Remember, there's a short and long side down, long side up. Again, that's to keep that even width. All right, my camera's overheating, so I'm gonna say some things real quick. Again, put this timing chain tensioner in. We'll slide this on before the woodruff key, right? Put the woodruff key in. These bolts here are 10 Newton meters for your flywheel, and this here is 55 Newton meters tight. And then we'll put the gears back in here. I'll show you guys that in a second. I'm gonna cut, so let this camera cool off, change my battery too, and I will get this in place, and then we'll go ahead and install these so you guys see the rest of that. Okay, so we got the gasket on with a little sealer, the spring is in place. Let's put our starter gears in. Let's see, I know one's just a smidge shorter than the other one. I believe that long one, that goes here, and then this guy will go down here. All right, we're good there. I'm gonna check my timing mark. That's pretty much where it's gonna be to line up that cylinder. Again, pay attention to the spring so it doesn't get collapsed sideways when you go to put this on. Come down nice and straight as we can. Make sure I'm lined up with the gears for the store. That is straight there and there. There we go, down nice and tight. Grab all our bolts. And these should be all the same length. Now when you put the ground strap on, be mindful, okay? Be mindful of where it goes, here or here, or wherever you want to put it at. It's up to you. And don't get crazy torquing that down. You don't want to pull the threads out. You can get a little bit longer one if you want to make up that difference. Again, those will be 12 Newton meters like everything else, according to my diagram over there. There's that. I hope this angle's been working better for this video compared to some of the other ones. I know it's on my chest and kind of right in the middle of my, actually it's in the middle of my chest. I'm probably just about the right height for this. I'm sure that, you know, a little bit lower would be nice, or if I was doing this on the side. But if I do things like down here, that's very hard to see. Me standing up like this with my lift all the way up, I think has been the best so far. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. So we'll get this tightened down. And let's hope and pray for no leaks. Again, 12 Newton meters on all those. Let's grab an extension. Twelve. 12. 12. I didn't like that. That one didn't feel the greatest. There's 10. I'm not gonna go all the way 12. I don't like the way that feels, so we'll stop at 10. 10 to 12 newton meters on these again is perfectly fine. If you don't like the way it feels, you think it's gonna strip, stop at 10. That's what I just did on those. We don't wanna have any leaking, hopefully. All right, so that side case is on. We'll put our oil dipstick in. We'll steal the other motor mount off the other case and mount it here with the 10 mil head. Of course, that's like a 6 mil bolt, 6.6 by 10 and an 8 mil. It's a 10 mil head and an 8 mil head. We'll get that installed and we'll start putting the top end together. All right, so motor's back on. I have a 9 millimeter in here because the 8 was all stripped out. I'm going to go ahead and get this guy, hold this thing up and get rid of my box because I don't need it anymore. Piece of wood. And then we'll go ahead, set this bad boy down here. And I already know, I'm gonna take this out so we can look at the timing marks. So let's get that out of here real quick. Forgot I shouldn't have put that side case back on because we gotta still look at the timing marks. Wasn't thinking very well when it comes to that. But hey, it is what it is. And I got a 9 to fit in there anyways. So I think we'll be okay. And I need to change this 2 back to the other one that we had. So again, I did get a 9 to fit. So let's grab my T-handle maybe. And all right, and let's go ahead and turn this guy. Boy, I just had it in there. Hopefully I get back in the thing. There we go. All right. There's good, that's good, that's good. We can go ahead and drop in our timing chain tensioner, timing chain guide. Well, actually, no, it goes in after the head. These go on after the cylinder, not the head. So I'm gonna put a little, I don't know why I can't think, silicone on, or gasket sealer on this surface too, again, just because last time we had an issue and I don't want the same issue, same thing's gonna happen back here, and we'll line up both those pins. So I'll go ahead and put that on. I should have thought about that before I jump back on the camera, and then we'll go ahead and get the new base gasket on. All right, so let's grab a little bit of oil, which I have over here on my shelf still. Grab some of this, we'll oil up the cylinder really good. All right, make sure this is all cleaned up. Grab a new rag. Thought I had it all off, but I missed a little bit. All right, that looks good. Now this one will say number 2, even though they consider this number 1. It's a lot of confusing crap going on. Just know the timing chain on the number 1 cylinder, which is the back side, will face towards the front of the unit, okay? So I have these offset, and we'll go ahead and just squeeze them and start putting them on. I do have it already lined up at TDC. Let me turn that ring that way and this one like this. There's that one. Usually I start on the front and then come to the back. Oh, a little too much of an angle there. It's easier if you got a ring compressor, and I don't have one. And you know what? I'm doing it from the wrong side for one, trying to get it on with that. So let me spin the motor. That'll help me a lot. Not trying to deal with the timing chain tensioner in the way. Sometimes I have to kneel down to do this, so we'll see if the angle stays good or not. And I do not have a ring compressor. It's rare that I've had to use one, but I haven't tried to work around this GoPro either on my chest, which is actually making it very difficult because I can't get my arm where I need to get my arm to. Let's see. Let me pull that back off. Okay, this is way harder to keep you guys at an angle you can see while I do this. Where's my little screwdriver to press that in? Over here still. Yep, that little guy. All right, usually I kneel down and do this. All right, let's try this again from this angle. If I can't get it again from this angle, I'm gonna have to stop and then go ahead and do it where I can have better access to it. Okay. Probably should get myself a ring compressor if I'm gonna start doing a chest mount. There's that one. And what you can also do, you can take a screwdriver, that's what I do sometimes, and just kind of work the piston back and forth, and that'll get the rings will work themselves in, but this doesn't have a huge taper. There's that one. If I can get it up off of the... Did I pop it back out? Nope, we're going down, but I am pushing off the gasket. And we should be past the rings now. Holy crap, look what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing, look. Holy crap, man. What is wrong with me? what is wrong with me, man? Here, trying to fight this thing. Oh, I love it. Today is not my day. What did I do with my little screwdriver now? All right, back again to number one. There we go. And again, like I was saying before, you can work it back and forth like this. I would do this with the Triumphs and it would work really well, but they had a huge taper compared to what this has. Yeah, and I just popped that ring out. I can't do this with you guys on my chest. I'm going to have to take you guys off my chest so I can do this. So as soon as I get this on, I'm usually down here kneeling so I can see what I'm going on, but trying to keep you guys at an angle is not working. So I'm going to stop, put the cylinder on, and then we'll get back. All right, here we are like 30 seconds later. That was so much easier when I squatted down and did it. Let's grab our head. Let's see, that'll be this guy here. And we'll throw in our timing chain, tensioner guide, timing chain guide. God, tensioner guide. I'm with it today, boys. I tell you what, I am with it today. All right, new head gasket. Let's check the direction, make sure it lines up correctly. That looks great there and right there. Perfect. Throw on our head, just kind of checking a few things out. Make sure that's back to TDC. We know we're at TDC here and here. And we'll slide this on. Our dowel's already in there. There we go there. And then we'll grab, remember there's two clean ones, two oily ones I should say, and two non-oily ones. That's a non-oily one. And check these two out, oily one. You can see the difference too, the length, a little bit different here on this. And those are 12, size 12s, but the torque on these are 38 Newton meters. And then you'll also have the 2 5s that'll go down inside here. This one there. And this one over here, and those will be torqued down to 12 Newton meters. So let's go ahead and run these down. Get those halfway going. That's a 14. Do I have a 12 out here somewhere? This should be a 12, I think. Yep, that's a 12. And again, threads are already started. I'm not running them down I'm not running down tight, I'm just getting a little head start here on them. Again, those are 38 Newton meters. Is that a 12? That is a 12. Crisscross pattern. Start wherever you like. .38 Newton meters. I'm going to start right here. Go up to, there's 27. 25, 24.8. Trying to keep them all a little even here. There's 30. All right. Start here. .38.9. 39. That went a little creaky. 39. .38.8. So there's that. Still, I'm going to rotate this back a little bit to TDC because I did rotate it a smidge with my hand just now. So I'm going to bump it back if I can get my 8 in there. Grab out the timing chain tensioner or timing chain. Get that guy out of here. That way we don't have any issues with possibly jamming up. Grab a screwdriver. We'll let it hang out here for a minute. That one here. And let's go ahead and turn this thing over. All right. Oh, I missed it, so we're gonna keep going. Right now on the back cylinder, TDC. And I'm a little caught up on the timing chain in the back. So let's go ahead and fix that real quick. My hands are slick, everything is slick. All right, so we'll get the other cylinder on. Hit that up, slide it on, same process. I need to tighten these 2 5s here real quick. I was just trying to get back to TDC. So let's do those 2 5s real quick while we're on camera. I'll put the rear one on off camera because it's the same thing as the front or as the number 1 cylinder. And then we'll get back into talking about cam timing and how to time that up properly. So these are again, 12 Newton meters right here from 38. Drop this back down to 12. Whoop. Add preset. No. No. All right, same process on the rear. We'll get the cylinder on, we'll get the head on, and then we'll go over cam timing. All right, both cylinders are on, both heads are on. We are now at TDC on number 1. You can look here for the mark. It'll line up in the center of this, and then you can verify by looking into your crankcase to make sure it's top dead center. The nut for this, or the bolt for this, is 20 Newton meters. And you'll want to line these 2 hash marks up even with the head. So slide that down in here. until I'm one off there. So right about here, turn the cam straight up and down, and I'm probably about 1 tooth off there, it looks like possibly. Let's jump 1 tooth, take a look. Nope, about the same. So I'm gonna go back to where I was and double check my mark. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Right there, timing mark right there. And then we'll grab this guy here, and this goes to 20 Newton meters. We'll clean the oil off the end of that. Throw some thread locker on it. Put it in here, and then 20 Newton meters. But I'm going to go ahead, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna hit it with my impact first, and then run it, just to run it in. That's there. And then I'm gonna put in my timing chain tensioner before I get in here and try to tighten this down. I wanna make sure all that slack is out of here, and then we can try to tighten this down to 20 Newton meters. Hardest thing is you may have to put something in here to kind of hold it in place so it doesn't rotate. So let's get our timing chain tensioner. We'll have to take the 10 mil head off of this thing, 6x10 bolt. We'll go ahead and get that backed out. Take this off. Find my 10 millimeter, wherever I put it at again. I think I used it on something a minute ago. 8, 10, 10, 10. There it is, 10. Grab our little screwdriver, wherever I put it at. There we go. And we'll go ahead and rotate this clockwise till it touches, and then we'll screw in these two, and we'll tighten these down to 12 Newton meters also. This is way easier to do outside of the unit. You guys probably saw me do it inside the unit a couple times. Let me grab that 8. Just put those nice and snug with your hand, and then you can let go of that. And then we'll torque those to 12 Newton meters. Should already be at 12 from doing the 5s for the cylinder head. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Now we'll grab a 16, which I know I don't have a 16 out here. I know I have one in the box. Drawers are open everywhere. 16. Put this here, 20 Newton meters, which doesn't seem like much. And then we'll grab something to kind of try to lock it in place. Not really sure how I'm going to do this. Usually I'll hit it with an impact, but there we go. 20 Newton meters there. Back this up because my cam chain on the other side. We could put the valve cover on this thing. These can go to 10 to 12 Newton meters also. Is that a 5 or a 6? It's a 6. Many times I had those bad boys off and on and off and on. I'm gonna put these at 10 just because many times I've had these guys off and on. I lied. A little bit tighter than 10. That's 13. So that one's good to go. So now what we'll do, we will grab, which again, I have a 9, and we're gonna rotate this thing I gotta go back a little bit since I got the cam chain semi-locked from the other one. So we're gonna rotate this one 200, and I think he says 240, 280 degrees. Actually, I think we're supposed to go on this one after you get that TDC on the tell I'm getting into oh, come on. I may have to take this side cover back off to turn it, because this is actually an 8, not a 9, but that thing is so boogered up, I may have to pull this side cover off to be able to actually turn this, and that would really suck. That's what I said I screwed up earlier. Yep, I'm going to have to pull that side cover off so I can rotate this thing over properly and time it up. So let me get this side cover off real quick, because that hole where the 8 goes is just destroyed. So we need to pull this off, 24, turn this over. What I meant to say earlier is that I had this in backwards, so basically the shoulder goes inwards, that way it doesn't bind up. So we're at TDC, that's back together. What we'll do, we'll rotate this, if I can get my cam chain that fell down in there, counterclockwise, 440 degrees, all right? So let me go ahead and grab the cam chain so it doesn't get bound up. So we're gonna go ahead and rotate this thing, 440 degrees, which is just like, there's 360, and then it would come all the way back around to the mark there. And then you just set it up the same way we did this, with the hash marks lined up, spin the motor around, hash marks will line up flush with the head, double check your timing mark down here. If you have the cover on, this one's pre-marked here, and then you go ahead and put your timing chain tensioner in, boom, done. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll get the side cover back on, and we'll talk about the rest of this. All right, guys, so I took the side cover back off, like I said, to be able to turn this, because that's all messed up down here. I took the valve cover back off, that way you can watch this thing rotate. Okay, so your next thing, once you get this cylinder all set up and done, number one, mechanically again, what we're gonna do, we're gonna rotate it 440 degrees. All right, this is according to Motorcycle Doctor and the service manual. So we'll go ahead and watch what happens up here. Counterclockwise again, there's intake. There's that, and then 440, this would be exhaust stroke. And then right there would be top dead center, number 2 cylinder. Also, I don't know if I said this at the beginning of the video, I did have this in backwards when I installed it the first time. You wanna make sure that the shoulder, I don't know if I can get this out, the shoulder is facing in. If you don't, it won't set right, it can bind up, causing all types of issues. So again, that's 20 Newton meters here, head bolts 38. The little 5mm Allens are 12. And this guy here is like 7 Newton meters. It's not very tight at all. So we'll get this installed. That way that's all back in there, ready to rock and roll at no issues here. There's that. Where's my tin? Tin. There we go, that's there. Flip this around. Grab our other stuff. Here. Let's get this, make sure we're right on that, drop it down, get the cam chain on. If I can here. There we go, give myself a little room. It's 1 tooth off. Rotate the hair. There we go, those dots are lined up. Again, little Loctite. And then they say 20 Newton meters here. So we'll run that in real quick. Where is my 16? There is that. It's easier to tighten those down when you have the side cover off. My 16, boy, I gotta look for stuff. That's a 17. I don't know where I put everything at. There it is, stuck to the bottom of this. 16. Again, turn it on. .20 Newton meters. And you might be able to hold a flywheel to do this too. There we go. That is the top end back on. That's tight. We're gonna go ahead and take off the, we'll do the same thing with the timing chain we did last time. If I remember where it, golly, this is such a freaky mess in here right now trying to do this today. I got kids showing up to practice volleyball here at the house, all types of stuff. So again, put the timing chain tensioner in the same way because I gotta cut this video off here because they are showing up. So timing chain tensioner, 12 Newton meters, 12 Newton meter valve covers, and then we'll put the side cover back on, and then we'll try to reinstall this thing into the UTV. So there's the motor build. A lot of jumping around on this thing with me and looking for disorganization today. Bad disorganization. I apologize for that in this video. Just trying to get this thing done. This thing has been a complete nightmare. You guys know that. Hopefully the view was good, not too distorted, any of that stuff. All right, so man, I'm gonna have to shut the door in the back here. It's so hard to see with the light shining in. I don't know if you guys can see that well. So the motor's back in. We went through everything. I actually got new valve cover gaskets. One of them was starting to tear, so I ordered those while I was out of town. I did buy a cherry picker. Made my life easier putting it in. We do have the spacer on the drive gear for the oil pump and the water pump. It's the one that runs off the crank. There is a 12 mil spacer if you don't have the one that's got the longer piece built onto it. Not the short one, but a longer one. Let's see, anything else? No coolant leaks, none of that. I do have coolant up front in my reservoir. So let's go ahead and turn the key on. Listen to everything prime there. I'm gonna do it a second time. All right, let's see if this thing fires up and runs how it's supposed to. Hey, that's on 2 cylinders. Well, we're gonna let it sit here and warm up. Let's see how long it runs, see if it holds a decent idle. Like I said, we have coolant, we have oil in it, and it sounds like it's running on both cylinders. So that's a positive. I could definitely smell all the oil from my hands on it, that is for sure. What are we idling at? We're idling at 1500 right now. We don't have any coolant coming out here, or coolant, any air bubbles. No head gasket leaks there. Let's just see how long this thing will run for right now. Again, we will smoke a little bit because my greasy hands, and it does have exhaust wrap on it. Make sure everything is plugged in. Everything looks good. Boy, that stinks. Woo! That exhaust wrap stinks. Oh, there's my 6. I was looking for that. Little bit of smoke coming out of the exhaust pipe, most likely from all the oil I put in the cylinders when I put the pistons back in. I don't have any water leaks from anywhere that I can see, no oil leaks anywhere. So I'm gonna let this thing run, let it heat cycle a few times, and then we'll go ahead and start reassembling it. You could, well, it just died. You can see I was starting to reassemble the front a little bit. The bumper that goes on there is kind of bent, and that's giving me a hard time. But still have to put the clutches back on. But I want to let this thing sit here and idle for a while and see if there's any other issues with anything else in the system. This is the longest this thing has ever ran since I've got it here, and you guys seen that. So I'm going to jump off here. We'll go ahead and I'm going to fire this back up because it just died. It's a good possibility it's just fuel related right now, and I'll keep you guys informed of what I find. All right, guys, here it is. It's all back together. We know it fires up. The fan kicks on. Coolant's been bled, has proper oil in it, oil height in it, and everything like that. The clutches are new, but it's got a weird zinging sound. I took everything back apart when I started it and took the side off and checked the clutch again, and there's nothing wrong with it. Let me fire it up here real quick and let you see if you guys can hear it or not. So right here, it's got a little ring. And I took it apart, checked it, everything looks right. Not sure if it's a one-way bearing exactly or what it is. So we know some of these clutches are kind of noisy just in general, clicking and clacking, especially on the O's, but this will be the first one that I've had it kind of loud on one of these Bennche Spires. I am missing quite a few of the little fasteners that screws into. I haven't drove it yet, so I'm gonna go around and check all the tire pressures because I can see this one's low. I'll air those up. We'll jump in this thing and take it, hopefully, for the first test drive. I want to talk about a couple things I did struggle with on here, though. The biggest thing I struggled with was the front bumper because it's bent, but the roll cage, it was spread out too wide. So basically what I did, I just took a tie strap, a ratchet strap, wrapped it around it, cranked it till the side met up, and it went right in. That was no big deal. Missing a bunch of the little nuts that go on here. I forget the exact name of them. Some of those, some push pins, things like that. I did order more of those. Like I said, the front bumper was a little messed up, so I got that back on, bled the system out, getting everything back together. It is missing an air box, and this thing was snorkeled at one point in time. You guys can see right here, it was snorkeled at one point in time. So I am missing the air box for this one. Probably gonna get a K&N filter and put that on there, but I'm just gonna take it around nice and easy and slowly. I know I can suck some dirt in there, so I want to take it easy. I just want to make sure this thing moves forward, backwards, and that it does accelerate. I haven't done that yet. So let's go ahead and turn the key on. We'll start it up. Let's check the lights out. The lights are working. Very nice. Over here again. And those would probably be the low beams, possibly high beams. I'm not sure with the running lights. So there we go with that. All right, let's climb in this bad boy. Good to see if I put you guys up. See the dash. We're in neutral. E-brake off. That is reverse. Let's see if we move. I hope we do. Oh yeah, there we go. Right out the door. Very nice. I will smell a little bit of coolant just because all the coolant that I did spill on this thing. All right, high range. Kicks right in at 14, and we are freaking moving, baby. And I'm just kind of taking it easy. Like I said, I don't want a bunch of dust kicking up, sucking down in that motor. I just want to make sure this thing moves. And once I get a filter on it, then we'll hammer down on this thing. I have to go probably buy one. Sweet, 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 sweet. All right, I'm gonna pull this back into the shop because we don't have a filter and I can't leave it parked outside. Clutch works great too. So hopefully you guys had a decent view of that. Back to neutral, no problem. Revs up really nice. I'm excited to take it actually for a real hard test drive. Let's shut her back down. Let's get you off my chest here real quick. So there we go. this problem child hopefully is no longer a problem. Spent a lot of time on this unit, lots of videos on this unit, what, 6, 7 videos, and I did a lot of stuff I did not record. Man, I tell you what, this has been a nightmare, but we just went for a little ride. Again, there's no air filter on the throttle body, and I do not want to kick dust up to suck it down that brand new top end and bottom end. Brand new whole motor build. That would just completely suck. Hopefully Jim is satisfied. I know it's taken me a long time. He has made multiple trips to me to drop stuff off. Man, he has been an awesome customer. And again, I'm just gonna call this video donezo. I'll take it for a ride, run the crap out of it. And if anything comes up, I'll let you guys know. I'm pretty good about that. Let you know if I screwed up somewhere, I'll throw a short out there. But I'm gonna call this one done. Episode 5,922,628,999.9. That's what it feels like. Any stuff I did use, I know this is gonna be a motor rebuild and a little shot of it after the fact. Again, drop some comments, sub if you haven't. We're growing the channel slowly. Talk about making a membership page, possibly a Patreon to help out answering questions, sending service manuals, all that stuff. It helps me out because I lose time in the shop, like I said before. And I do the best I can to answer you guys back. Race season is back upon us. Just finished up in Alabama. So did well, 5th and 3rd in the rain. Awesome, did a good job there. And then in 3 weeks, we'll be headed to Road Atlanta in Georgia. But again, guys, I'm in and out of the shop. Need to get a hold of me, drop some comments below, give the video a thumbs up or thumbs down. You can find me on Facebook at Limitless Power Sports Service and Repair. You can find me, well, I can't say TikTok yet because I still haven't got my TikTok back. But you can also hit me up at limitlesspowersports78@gmail if you want to email me any questions. And guys, I appreciate everyone who has subbed and everyone who comments. And for those who see, things that I missed or whatever, I appreciate it. I do read all the comments. I may not respond to every one because some of them don't need a response. Sometimes I'll like them, give them a heart or something, or say thanks for, let me know my videos help you guys out. Again, I appreciate everyone, and I will catch everyone on my next upload.